So here you have the dromos preserved much better. You watch out for nails on the floor.
Sure. Okay.
So this is another one of the ones that had a collapsed chamber. And this tomb seems to be very similar to the one we're digging now. But when we first found this tomb, what we found was a big pit full of soil up there at the top. And we thought it was a Byzantine farming pit because of the Byzantine site. And it's exactly like happened this year. We're digging this pit, and we're going, maybe it's a collapsed tomb. But the only way I can find out is by finding the dromos. So then we started running the test trenches across the dromos area. And we picked up the dromos. It was pretty easy to find on this one.
Which year was this?
Huh?
Which year was this?
2 years ago. Then it's a big earth-moving operation like what we're doing in the other one now. We're pretty much close to the earth-moving operation where you just dig through all the collapse in the chamber. So there's all the fill up above. Then there's the roof collapse. And then there's the fill that's below the roof collapse. And then you come down on the floor. And this is the one we were talking about. It has a woman and a man over here. And they have pottery mostly around the pelvis area, and some at the feet, and some at the head, and a few odd things across the chest. And same thing over here. These are the indeterminates. I'm now being told I no longer can say they're a man and a woman. So they're lying on a floor that's just slightly above this, like about here. And then below that floor are these 3 pits. And there's a burial with the head to the north here. That's primary, and another one here that's primary. And then there's 2 secondary burials in this pit together. And we also found some wood over in that corner. It doesn't seem to be, just looks like planks now. I can't really see what it was part of in any way. So you can see here when you're in this chamber, because it has more light than the other one, what the geology of the ground is like. So this is what we were talking about, that if you look up here, see how dense and white this is? So that's the natural bedrock cap that they were geologists, so to speak, in the sense that they were looking for that cap where they had looser soil below it. And this one has what a lot of them have, which is bands of sandstone. If you just run your hand here, you can feel the sand coming out. If you rub your hand over there, bands of the conglomerate here with all the rocks. Right? So and then you can just see it's like layers. So the ground below this cap, which is sort of like, remember the Neolithic cap?
I was telling them about that.
Yeah, right. So it's the same thing. These things geologically are being formed the same way, and they somehow understood the geology enough to understand that if they could get under the cap, they could dig out this chamber fairly easily, and it would stay up because the cap was hard. So now that we understand the geology more, we need to go back with geologists to all these sites I think are cemetery sites and say, would it really work here?
Right.
There was a very nice blocking wall here, and Jim told you the story about how, fortunately, we had photographs of it, but we hadn't finished drawing it when we had to leave at the end of the season. And I guess they didn't understand that the chamber had already been excavated. That's what I think. I think they were, because the roof is tighter on this part than that part. They looked under, they saw the dromos and the wall, and they thought if they get through the wall, they're going to get into the chamber. Didn't know that we'd already excavated the chamber. That's probably why they ripped the wall out.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, it is.
In the tomb that's buried, we walked over the gravel, the ground. Anyway, in the tomb that's buried and in this one, we have these side chambers. And now we understand that the side chambers are infant burials. We have feeding bottles in them, and we have stone beads that are 1 to 2, well, like 2 millimeters to 3 millimeters in diameter, and 1 millimeter perforations in them. They're just really minuscule and got like hundreds of them. So they seem to have worn little stone bead necklaces. And we haven't found any bone material because we can tell by the way the adult burial is in such bad shape that infant burials just wouldn't be preserved in the soil. There's too much leaching, especially when they're this close to the surface. There's too much water penetration. So that's what these inside chambers are for. Okay. Be real careful coming out.